My twin sister stole my fiance and married him last month. Today, I discovered why she really did it, and the truth is so much worse than I imagined. 3 months ago, I caught my fiance Marcus kissing my twin sister Sophia at our engagement party. When I confronted them, they claimed it was a drunken mistake. Marcus begged for forgiveness, said it meant nothing. Sophia cried and apologized, swearing she'd never hurt me again. I forgave them both. Biggest mistake of my life. 2 weeks later, Marcus broke up with me. He said we weren't compatible anymore, that he needed space to figure himself out. I was devastated, but respected his decision. The next morning, Sophia announced she was dating Marcus. They'd been talking since the engagement party, she said. One thing led to another. My entire family supported them. They said Marcus and Sophia were clearly meant to be together. My parents actually threw them an engagement party at our childhood home, in the same backyard where Marcus had proposed to me 6 months earlier. I wasn't invited. The wedding was last month. I watched from social media as my twin sister walked down the aisle in the dress I'd picked out. She wore my grandmother's pearls that were supposed to be mine. Marcus smiled at her the way he used to smile at me. My family posted hundreds of photos celebrating the happy couple. I moved across the country for a fresh start. New job, new apartment, new life. I blocked everyone on social media and changed my phone number. I needed to heal without constant reminders of their betrayal. For the first time in months, I felt peace. This morning changed everything. I was grabbing coffee when my phone rang. Unknown number with my hometown area code. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. It was Dr. Williams, our family physician since childhood. His voice was shaky, professional, but concerned. "I need to speak with you about your sister," he said. "There's been a medical emergency, and some information has come to light that you need to know." My heart stopped. Despite everything, Sophia was still my twin. "Is she okay?" I asked. "She's stable now, but she's been hospitalized for a severe allergic reaction. When they ran her blood work, they discovered something unexpected. She's pregnant, about 3 months along." I didn't understand why he was telling me this. Congratulations to her, I guess. But then he continued. "The concerning part is what she said when she woke up. She was delirious from the medication, but she kept saying she was sorry, that she had to protect you, that you couldn't know about the baby." I still didn't get it. Dr. Williams took a deep breath. "She kept repeating that Marcus never loved her, that he only married her because she threatened to tell you about the pregnancy if he didn't. She said she did it to save you from finding out he cheated and got her pregnant while you were engaged." The coffee shop spun around me. I gripped the phone tighter. "There's more. During her confusion, she admitted the pregnancy happened before your engagement party. She's been hiding it for months. The timing means Marcus was seeing her behind your back long before that kiss you witnessed." I hung up and ran to the bathroom, vomiting everything I'd eaten that morning. My twin sister hadn't stolen my fiance. She'd been carrying his child and forced him into marriage to protect me from the truth. The betrayal was so much deeper than I'd imagined. But it gets worse. I called Dr. Williams back from the parking lot. My hands shook as I dialed. "How long has she known about the pregnancy?" I asked. "Based on her medical records, she had a positive test the day before your engagement party. She made an appointment that morning." Everything clicked into place. The kiss at the engagement party wasn't random. It was Sophia's way of forcing the situation into the open. She knew she was pregnant with my fiance's baby and had to find a way to break us up without revealing the truth. I drove straight to the hospital. 4 hours of non-stop driving, surviving on energy drinks and rage. I needed to see her face when I demanded the whole truth. Sophia was awake when I arrived. She looked pale and tired, but her eyes went wide when she saw me standing in the doorway. "You came," she whispered. I pulled up a chair next to her bed. "Tell me everything. No more lies." She started crying immediately. She'd been having an affair with Marcus for 6 months before he proposed to me. She thought it was just physical, that he'd get bored and move on. But when she discovered she was pregnant, everything changed. "He told me he loved you, not me," she said through tears. "He said the pregnancy was just bad luck and wanted me to handle it quietly. But I couldn't do that to an innocent baby. So she gave him an ultimatum. Break up with me and marry her, or she'd tell me everything, including about the pregnancy." Marcus chose to protect his reputation over his heart. "The engagement party kiss was staged," she admitted. "They planned it together, knowing I'd catch them. It was supposed to start a believable breakup story, but they underestimated how much our family would support their relationship." I sat in stunned silence, processing the layers of deception. My fiance had been cheating on me for months. My twin sister had been pregnant at my engagement party. Their entire relationship was built on blackmail and lies. But there's another twist that changes everything. As I was leaving the hospital, I ran into Marcus in the parking lot. He was carrying flowers and looked exhausted. When he saw me, his face went white. "What are you doing here?" he asked. "I know everything," I told him. "The pregnancy, the timeline, the blackmail, all of it." He dropped the flowers. They scattered across the asphalt as he grabbed my arm. "You can't tell anyone," he pleaded. "My parents, my job, our friends think this is a love story. If they knew the truth, my reputation would be destroyed." I stared at him in disbelief. Even now he was worried about appearances. That's when he made an offer that revealed just how desperate he was. "I'll divorce her," he said quickly. "We can be together again. I made a mistake, but we can fix this. You're the one I really love." I laughed. Actually laughed out loud in the hospital parking lot. "You want me to take you back after you cheated on me, got my sister pregnant, married her under blackmail, and lived a lie for months?" He nodded eagerly, like this was a reasonable proposal. I walked away without another word, but his desperation gave me an idea. I went back to Sophia's room and told her about Marcus's parking lot proposal. Her face crumbled as she realized her sacrifice had meant nothing to him. He'd throw her away the moment he could escape the consequences. That's when she made a decision that shocked me. I want to tell everyone the truth, she said. All of it. I'm tired of living this lie, and our baby deserves better than parents who hate each other. We spent the next hour crafting a statement together. The real story of the pregnancy, the blackmail, the fake love story. Sophia was ready to face the consequences if it meant freeing us both from Marcus's web of lies. But first, we needed proof. Sophia had been recording conversations with Marcus for months, collecting evidence in case he tried to abandon her and the baby. She had voice memos of him admitting he loved me, not her. Messages where he called their marriage a business arrangement. Even a recording of him offering to pay for a termination early in the pregnancy. We uploaded everything to a shared drive and prepared for war. The revelation happened at Sunday family dinner. Our parents had invited Marcus, expecting a cozy gathering to celebrate the new marriage. Instead, they got the truth bomb of a lifetime. Sophia and I walked into the dining room together. Our family hadn't seen us in the same room since before the wedding. The tension was immediate. We have something to tell you, Sophia announced, about the marriage, the pregnancy, and why everything you think you know is a lie. For the next hour, we laid out the timeline. The months-long affair, the pregnancy discovery, the blackmail ultimatum, Marcus's desperate attempt to win me back just days earlier. We played the recordings, showed the text messages, presented a mountain of evidence. Our parents sat in stunned silence. Marcus tried to deny everything, claiming the recordings were fake, that Sophia was having a breakdown, but the evidence was overwhelming. Our father stood up first. His face was red with anger as he looked at Marcus. "Get out of my house," he said quietly. "Don't come back." Marcus tried to argue, to explain his side, but our mother joined in. "You manipulated both of our daughters," she said. "You're not welcome in this family anymore." Marcus left that night and hasn't returned. The family group chat exploded with messages as relatives processed the truth. Wedding gifts were returned, social media posts were deleted, the fairy tale crumbled publicly. But the real surprise came 3 days later. Sophia called me crying. Happy tears, she explained. Marcus had filed for divorce, claiming irreconcilable differences. He wanted nothing to do with the baby and was giving up all parental rights. He'd rather be a deadbeat than tied to the truth forever. She was relieved, free from a loveless marriage to a man who resented her and their child, free to raise her baby without constant lies and manipulation. "I'm keeping the baby," she told me, "and I want you to be the best aunt in the world if you'll have us." Despite everything, she was still my twin sister. The baby was innocent in all this mess, and Sophia had ultimately chosen truth over comfort, even when it cost her everything. I moved back home last week, found a job in town and an apartment near Sophia. We're rebuilding our relationship slowly, carefully, with complete honesty this time. Marcus moved to another state. His social media is full of posts about fresh starts and learning from mistakes. He's already dating someone new. Some people never change. The baby is due in 6 months. Sophia asked me to be in the delivery room. She wants her child's first sight to be family who chose truth over convenient lies. Our parents have embraced their role as grandparents. They're attending doctor's appointments, setting up a nursery, planning for a future that includes honesty instead of pretty facades. Yesterday, I found out Marcus had been texting our mutual friends, trying to paint himself as the victim. He's claiming Sophia manipulated him into marriage, and that I'm the bitter ex trying to destroy his reputation. Some people believed him at first. He's always been charming, convincing. But then our friends started comparing notes. They remembered his behavior from before the engagement party, the sneaky phone calls, the unexplained absences, the times he seemed distracted when we were together. Sarah, my maid of honor, admitted she'd suspected something was wrong months earlier. "He kept asking about your schedule," she told me. "When you'd be at work late, when you were traveling for business. I thought he was planning surprises, but now I realize he was planning something else entirely." More friends came forward with observations they'd dismissed at the time. Marcus borrowing money without explanation. Sophia acting nervous at family gatherings. Little signs that painted a picture of deception everyone had ignored. The truth spread through our social circle like wildfire. Marcus's reputation didn't survive the evidence. His new relationship ended when his girlfriend learned about the pregnancy and abandonment. His job prospects suffered when background checks revealed the scandal. Meanwhile, Sophia thrived. She started a blog about surviving manipulation and rebuilding trust. Her honesty resonated with other women who'd experienced similar betrayals. She gained thousands of followers who supported her journey towards single motherhood. The baby shower was beautiful. Friends who'd attended her wedding just months earlier now celebrated her independence. The contrast was striking. At the wedding, everything felt forced, performative. At the shower, joy felt genuine. I gave a speech that day about forgiveness, growth, and choosing family over pride, about how sometimes the worst betrayals lead to the most important truths, about how my nephew or niece would grow up in a home built on honesty, not lies. Sophia cried through the whole thing. Happy tears, she assured everyone. The healthiest tears she'd shed in months. The delivery happened on a Tuesday. I held Sophia's hand through contractions while she screamed at me for encouraging natural childbirth. The epidural couldn't come fast enough, she said between pushes. When my nephew finally arrived, perfect and screaming, I understood what unconditional love meant. This tiny person was innocent of his parents' mistakes. He deserved a family who chose truth over comfort, love over appearances. Marcus never showed up, never called, never asked about his son. His parental rights were officially terminated last month. The baby's birth certificate lists no father, just Sophia and her supporting family. 6 months later, later, Sophia is thriving as a single mother. She finished her degree online while raising the baby. She got promoted at work. She bought a house with help from our parents. She's dating someone new, slowly and carefully, with complete transparency from the start. I moved into the apartment above her garage. We share childcare duties and family dinners. The baby calls me auntie and reaches for me when he's cranky. I've never felt more purpose in my life than watching him grow. Marcus tried to reconnect last month. He sent a long email claiming he'd changed, that he wanted to meet his son, that he missed our family. He attached pictures of his life in Colorado, looking successful and put together. Sophia showed me the email and asked what I thought she should do. Block him, I advised. Some people deserve second chances. He's not one of them. She deleted the email without responding. We focused on planning the baby's first birthday party instead, a celebration of honesty, growth, and the family we'd chosen to build from the wreckage of his deception. The party was perfect. Friends, family, co-workers, neighbors who'd become close friends. The baby smeared cake in his hair and clapped at everything. He had no idea his life had started with such chaos. All he knew was love, laughter, and aunts who'd do anything to protect him. As I watched him stumble around the backyard in his tiny sneakers, I realized something profound. Marcus's betrayal had destroyed one life story, but created a better one. The family we'd built from truth was stronger than anything we'd had before. Sophia approached me as guests were leaving. She was holding her son, both of them sticky from birthday cake. "Thank you," she said simply, "for forgiving me, for coming back, for choosing us." I kissed my nephew's forehead and smiled at my sister. "Thank you for choosing honesty," I replied, "even when it cost you everything." We stood together in the backyard where our parents had thrown Marcus an engagement party just 2 years earlier. The same space that had celebrated his lie now celebrated our truth. Sometimes the most beautiful endings grow from the most painful beginnings. The baby reached for a soap bubble floating past, missed it, and giggled anyway. Pure joy in the simple moment. That's what we'd learned to value. Simple, honest, real. Marcus's social media still shows his Colorado life. New girlfriend, new job, new story about being a devoted father who had to leave his son for complicated reasons. He's still lying, still manipulating, still choosing appearances over truth, but that's his burden to carry now. We've moved beyond his version of events. We're writing our own story, one honest day at a time. The baby will grow up knowing his family chose difficult truths over comfortable lies. That's the best gift we can give him. Sometimes late at night, when I'm helping with feeding or diaper changes, I think about alternate timelines. What if I'd never caught them kissing? What if Sophia had never gotten pregnant? What if Marcus had chosen honesty from the beginning? But those scenarios feel hollow now. The pain of discovery led to something better than what we'd lost. A family built on truth instead of performance. Relationships that could survive difficult conversations. Love that didn't require lies to sustain itself. The baby's first word was mama, his second was no, his third was auntie. He's learning early that honesty and boundaries matter. That family shows up when things get hard. That love doesn't require perfection, just presence. Sophia and I are closer now than we ever were as children. Surviving Marcus's deception together forged a bond that can't be broken by normal sibling drama. We're partners in raising this amazing little human and rebuilding trust one conversation at a time. Our parents joke that they got the family they always wanted, just not the way they expected. Their grandson plays in the same backyard where Sophia and I grew up, but without the competitive dynamic that marked our childhood. We're united now by purpose instead of divided by comparison. The house next door went up for sale last month. The new neighbors are a young couple expecting their first baby. Sophia and I volunteered to babysit when they need help. We understand how precious honest family support can be. Yesterday, I found an old photo from my engagement party, Marcus and I smiling at the camera while Sophia watched from the background. Her expression looked sad even then, carrying secrets none of us understood. The image tells a different story now that I know the truth. I kept the photo as a reminder, not of betrayal, but of growth, of how perspectives change when lies are stripped away, of how much stronger we became when we stopped pretending everything was perfect. The baby is walking now, stumbling between furniture with determined focus. He falls down, gets back up, tries again. No shame in the stumbling, just persistence toward his goal. We're all learning from his example. Sometimes the most devastating betrayals lead to the most beautiful recoveries. Sometimes families have to break completely before they can heal properly. Sometimes the worst thing that happens becomes the best thing that could have happened. Marcus took a lot from us: time, trust, the illusion of simple love. But he also gave us something unexpected: the opportunity to rebuild with complete honesty as our foundation, to choose each other consciously instead of just accepting what we inherited. The baby doesn't know his origin story yet. Someday we'll tell him about the complicated circumstances of his arrival, but we'll also tell him about the family that chose to love him fiercely despite the chaos, about the aunts and grandparents who showed up when his father walked away. He'll learn that sometimes the people who hurt us most give us the greatest gifts, not intentionally, but through the strength we discover in surviving them. He'll understand that honesty is harder than lies, but always worth the choice. Tonight, as I write this story, I can hear Sophia singing lullabies through the thin walls between our apartments, the baby's contented sighs as he settles into sleep, the peaceful sounds of a family that learned to value truth over comfort. Marcus is somewhere in Colorado, probably crafting new lies for his new girlfriend, still choosing the easy path, still avoiding difficult conversations, still believing that image matters more than substance. But we're here. share in the messy truth of real love, building something lasting from the wreckage of his deception, teaching a little boy that family means showing up, especially when it's hard, that honesty creates stronger bonds than perfect performances ever could. The best revenge isn't destruction. It's rebuilding something better from what was destroyed. It's proving that truth creates more beauty than lies ever could. It's raising a child who will never have to wonder if his family's love is real. Marcus lost everything that mattered when he chose deception over honesty. We found everything that matters when we chose truth over comfort. In the end, we all got exactly what we deserved. The story continues beyond what anyone expected. 2 years later, our little family has grown in ways we never imagined. The baby is now a toddler, running through the house with endless energy. Sophia finished her master's degree and started her own consulting business. I got promoted to regional manager and bought the house next door. Marcus tried to come back again last Christmas. He showed up at our parents' house during dinner, claiming he wanted to make amends and meet his son. He brought expensive gifts and a practice speech about redemption and second chances. The toddler took one look at this stranger and hid behind Sophia's legs. Even at 2 years old, he could sense something wasn't right. Children have amazing instincts about people. Our father answered the door and didn't invite Marcus inside. He stood on the porch while the family watched through windows. The conversation lasted 5 minutes before Marcus left, his gifts still in his hands. Later, we learned he'd recently lost his job in Colorado and was facing bankruptcy. His attempts at reconciliation were motivated by desperation, not genuine remorse. He'd heard about Sophia's business success and my promotion through mutual connections. The toddler asked about the strange man for a few days, then forgot completely. His world is full of people who love him consistently. He doesn't need someone who shows up only when convenient. Sophia started dating seriously 6 months ago. David is a teacher who loves children and has no problem with her past. He met our family naturally, through the toddler's daycare where he substitute teaches. No drama, no hidden agendas, just genuine connection. The first time David stayed for dinner, the toddler climbed into his lap without hesitation. Sophia and I exchanged looks across the table. This felt different, healthy, real. David knows the whole story about Marcus. He's seen the evidence, understands the timeline, recognizes the patterns of manipulation, but he's more interested in the future than dwelling on the past. I'm planning to propose soon, David told me privately last week. Not because I want to replace anyone or fix anything, just because I love them both and want to build something together. The proposal happened yesterday. David got down on one knee in the backyard while the toddler played with bubbles. Simple, honest, beautiful. Sophia said yes through happy tears while her son clapped and demanded more bubbles. This time, there are no secrets, no hidden pregnancies or competing loyalties, just two people who chose each other freely, building a life with a child who deserves stable love. The wedding is planned for next spring, small ceremony, family and close friends only. The toddler will be the ring bearer, carefully supervised by his devoted aunt. We're all excited to celebrate love that's built on truth instead of manipulation. Marcus sent one final text after hearing about the engagement through our small town gossip network. He claimed David was taking advantage of a broken family and that Sophia was using their son to trap another man. Sophia showed me the message and asked how to respond. I suggested she screenshot it and save it for the custody file she'll never need, then block his number permanently. Some people reveal their character most clearly when they're angry about other people's happiness. The toddler calls David Dada now and saves Mama for Sophia. He doesn't know any other family structure. His normal includes an aunt who lives next door, grandparents who babysit constantly, and adults who tell the truth even when it's difficult. At his 3rd birthday party last month, I watched him blow out candles surrounded by people who chose to love him. No hidden agendas, no competing loyalties, no adults using him as a weapon against each other. Just pure, uncomplicated celebration. Marcus wasn't missed. He'd made himself irrelevant through his own choices. The family we'd built was complete without him. Sometimes I get messages from friends in other cities asking for advice about similar situations. Cheating partners, manipulative family members, people who choose lies over difficult conversations. I always tell them the same thing. Choose truth, even when it's painful. Choose people who show up consistently, not just when it's convenient. Choose building something real over maintaining something fake. The short-term pain of honesty is always worth the long-term peace of authentic relationships. Sophia and I are planning to write a book together about surviving betrayal, rebuilding family bonds, and choosing truth over comfort. About how the worst thing that happened to us became the catalyst for the best life we could have imagined. The toddler is napping now as I finish writing this update. Sophia is planning her wedding. David is grading papers at the kitchen table, and I'm working on a business proposal that could change my career trajectory. Normal, healthy, boring adult problems. Marcus is still in Colorado, still cycling through relationships and jobs, still choosing the easy path that leads nowhere permanent. We wish him well from a distance and protect our peace by maintaining no contact. The house is quiet except for the sounds of people building a life together. Wedding planning conversations, work calls, the dishwasher running after a family dinner. The beautiful, mundane reality of love that doesn't require drama to sustain itself. Tomorrow is the toddler's first day at a new preschool. He's excited to meet other children and learn new things. Sophia is nervous about the transition, but David and I will be there for pickup duty and playground supervision. This is what healing looks like. Not a dramatic moment of closure, but the slow accumulation of ordinary days filled with people who choose choose each other consistently. Not because they have to, but because they want to. The best stories don't always have perfect endings, but they have honest ones. And sometimes when people choose truth over convenience, those honest endings become new, beautiful beginnings. Marcus thought he was the main character in our story, but he was just the catalyst that helped us discover who we really were when everything fake was stripped away. The real story began when we chose each other over the lies that had defined us. The toddler is stirring from his nap, ready for afternoon adventures. Sophia and David are discussing flower arrangements for the wedding. I'm reviewing job applications for the team I'm building at work. Life is good in ways that don't require hiding or pretending. This is our truth. Messy, complicated, beautiful, real, built from the wreckage of someone else's deception, but stronger because we chose it consciously. Every day we choose it again. And that's the ending that matters. Not the dramatic revelation or the public vindication, but the quiet decision to keep building something honest, one ordinary day at a time. The future is unwritten, but it's ours to write, together, truthfully, with a little boy who will grow up understanding that family means showing up, especially when it's hard. That love doesn't require perfection, just presence. That the best relationships survive difficult conversations because they're built on something stronger than convenient lies. Marcus gave us many things, though none of them were gifts he intended. He gave us clarity about what matters, strength we didn't know we possessed, appreciation for people who choose honesty over comfort, and ultimately he gave us each other in a way we never would have found otherwise. For that, we're almost grateful. Almost. But the story doesn't end there. Last week, something happened that changed everything again. I was at the grocery store with the toddler when a woman approached me in the cereal aisle. She looked nervous, clutching her phone like it contained something important. "Excuse me," she said quietly. "Are you the sister from the Marcus situation? I saw your story online." I tensed immediately. The toddler was pulling boxes off shelves, oblivious to the awkward moment developing around him. "I'm sorry to bother you," she continued, "but I think you need to see this." She showed me her phone screen. A social media post from Marcus, dated just 3 days earlier. In it, he was announcing his engagement to someone named Jessica. The caption made my blood run cold. "Finally, found the love of my life. Jessica understands what real commitment means, unlike some people from my past who couldn't handle adult relationships." But that wasn't the shocking part. The shocking part was in the comments. Jessica had replied to well-wishers with details about their romance, how they'd been together for almost 3 years, how Marcus had been honest about his complicated past from the beginning, how he'd been forced into a marriage with a manipulative woman who used pregnancy to trap him. 3 years. Marcus had been dating Jessica for 3 years. That meant he was cheating on Sophia with Jessica while he was engaged to me. The timeline didn't just include one affair. It included multiple simultaneous relationships spanning years. The woman who introduced herself as Jennifer was Jessica's sister. She'd been suspicious of Marcus from the beginning and had done some investigating when the engagement was announced. "I found your story through mutual friends," Jennifer explained. "When I saw the dates you mentioned, I realized Jessica has been lied to about everything. She thinks she's the only woman he ever truly loved." I screenshot everything on her phone while the toddler played with a box of cereal. The evidence painted a picture of deception so complex it was almost impressive. Marcus hadn't just been unfaithful. He'd been living completely separate lives with multiple women for years. Jennifer wanted to tell her sister the truth, but needed backup. She'd tried showing Jessica the original story about Marcus and Sophia, but Jessica dismissed it as vindictive lies from bitter ex-partners. "She won't believe me unless she hears it directly from you," Jennifer said. "Jessica thinks she saved Marcus from manipulative women. She has no idea she was just another victim." I agreed to meet with Jessica, not for revenge, but because she deserved to know what she was marrying, the same way I'd wished someone had warned me years earlier. The meeting happened at a coffee shop downtown. Jessica arrived looking exactly like someone Marcus would date, blonde, polished, confident in that particular way that comes from never having been truly betrayed. She sat across from me with her arms crossed, clearly reluctant to be there. "Jennifer says you have some story about Marcus," she said dismissively. "I know he made mistakes in the past, but he's changed. People grow." I pulled out the timeline Jennifer and I had created. 3 years of dates, cross-referenced with Marcus's relationships with me and Sophia. The overlap was undeniable. Jessica's confidence faltered as she studied the evidence. Her engagement ring caught the light as her hands shook slightly. "This is impossible," she whispered. "He told me about you two, but he said those relationships ended before we started dating." I showed her the hospital records from when Sophia gave birth. The date stamp proved Marcus was with Jessica in Colorado while his son was being born. He'd posted photos of their weekend trip on social media the same day his child entered the world. Jessica's face went pale as the reality sank in. She'd been the other woman for 3 years without knowing it. Her epic love story was built on the same lies that had destroyed my engagement. But then she surprised me. Instead of falling apart, Jessica got angry. Really angry. She pulled out her own phone and started taking pictures of my evidence. Her jaw was set with determination I recognized. It was the same look Sophia had worn when she decided to tell our family the truth. "I'm supposed to marry him in 2 weeks, Jessica said grimly. "I've already paid for everything. The venue, the dress, the flowers. My family flew in from 3 states. She paused, studying Marcus's photo on her phone screen. "But I'm not going to marry a liar, and I'm not going to let him do this to someone else." Jessica turned out to be a lawyer specializing in contract disputes. Her legal mind approached Marcus's deception like a case to be solved. She wanted evidence, witnesses, documentation, documentation. She wanted to build an airtight case that would prevent him from manipulating anyone else. Over the next few days, Jessica reached out to everyone in Marcus's orbit, friends, co-workers, even his family members who'd been kept in the dark about his various relationships. The pattern of lies went back even further than any of us had realized. His college girlfriend contacted Jessica after seeing her investigation posts. Marcus had cheated on her too, with multiple women using the same manipulation tactics. He'd promised each woman she was special, that his other relationships were just obligations he couldn't escape. His mother called Jessica directly. She'd been wondering why Marcus never brought Jessica around when he visited home. He'd told his family he was single, focusing on his career, not ready for serious relationships. Every conversation revealed new layers of deception. Marcus wasn't just a cheater. He was a systematic manipulator who'd been running multiple long-term cons for years. The confrontation happened at Jessica's rehearsal dinner. She'd decided to proceed with the venue and guest list, but changed the purpose of the gathering. Instead of celebrating her upcoming marriage, she was exposing Marcus publicly. I wasn't there, but Jennifer live-streamed parts of it. Jessica stood up during the toasts and thanked everyone for coming to support her. Then she began reading from her phone. She told the assembled friends and family about Marcus's secret relationships, the timeline of lies, the abandoned child he'd never mentioned, the web of deception that had defined his adult life. Marcus tried to interrupt, to claim Jessica was having a breakdown, but she'd prepared for that too. She had witnesses lined up, phone records, social media evidence, a presentation that made his guilt undeniable. His parents sat in stunned silence as they learned about their secret grandson. His co-workers realized why he'd been so secretive about his personal life. His friends understood why none of his stories about relationships had ever quite made sense. Marcus left the venue in humiliation, abandoning Jessica to handle the aftermath alone. But she wasn't alone. The room full of people who'd been deceived alongside her rallied to support her decision. Jessica's wedding dress was donated to a women's shelter. The venue hosted a celebration of honesty instead of a wedding built on lies. The flowers went to a nursing home where Jessica's grandmother lived, but the real justice came later. Word of Marcus's systematic deception spread through professional networks. His reputation in Colorado was destroyed as thoroughly as it had been in our hometown. Companies he'd applied to suddenly rescinded job offers. Professional contacts distanced themselves. Jessica used her legal skills to ensure Marcus faced consequences beyond social embarrassment. She filed complaints with his professional licensing board. She reported his fraudulent expense reports to his former employers. She made sure his pattern of deception was documented officially. Meanwhile, our family celebrated Jessica's courage at a distance. Sophia sent her a card thanking her for protecting future victims. Our parents offered to testify if Jessica ever needed witnesses to Marcus's character. The toddler, now 3.5, asked why everyone was talking about the mean man again. We explained that sometimes adults have to work together to stop people from hurting others, that telling the truth, even when it's hard, protects innocent people. Jessica started a blog about recognizing manipulation in relationships. Her legal background helped her explain the red flags other people had missed. Her story went viral among women who'd experienced similar betrayals. She also started a support group for people who'd been systematically deceived by romantic partners. The first meeting had 12 attendees. Within 6 months, there were chapters in 4 cities. Marcus tried to reinvent himself again, moving to another state and deleting all his social media. But the internet doesn't forget. His name is permanently linked to the documentation of his deception. Background checks reveal the truth to any future employer or romantic partner. Last month, Jessica visited our town for the first time. She wanted to meet Sophia and the toddler, to see the family that had survived Marcus's manipulation. The meeting was surprisingly comfortable, like connecting with distant relatives who'd shared a difficult experience. The toddler was fascinated by Jessica's legal briefcase and insisted on carrying it around the house. She explained her job in terms he could understand, helping people when others break important promises, making sure rules are fair for everyone. Jessica offered to help if Marcus ever tried to claim parental rights. She documented his abandonment so thoroughly that any custody attempt would fail immediately, but we all knew he'd never risk the public exposure that legal action would require. She also brought news about Marcus's current situation. He'd been fired from another job after his history was discovered. He was living with relatives, claiming to be the victim of vindictive ex-partners who couldn't let go of the past. Some people never learn. Some people double down on lies even when the truth is obvious to everyone around them. Marcus had become a case study in how manipulators respond when their tactics stop working. But we'd moved beyond caring about his fate. Our energy was focused on the family we'd built, the relationships we'd strengthened, the future we were creating together. Sophia's wedding to David happened on a perfect spring day. The toddler walked down the aisle with rings tied to a ribbon around his wrist, taking his job very seriously. Jessica attended as a friend, bringing a gift that made everyone cry. It was a photo album titled The Family We Choose, pictures of all the people who'd supported Sophia through her hardest times, not just blood relatives, but friends who'd become family through their consistent presence. The final page had a quote Jessica had found: "Sometimes the worst thing that happens to you becomes the reason for the best thing that happens to you." David's vows included a promise to be the father the toddler deserved, not because he had to replace anyone, but because every child should have someone who chooses to love them completely. The toddler's own vows, delivered with 4-year-old sincerity, were simple. "I love David David and Mama and Auntie and Grandma and Grandpa and everyone who makes good pancakes. The reception was everything Sophia's first wedding hadn't been. Genuine joy instead of forced performance. Laughter that came from real happiness instead of nervous energy. Love that didn't require hiding anything from anyone. I caught the bouquet, which started rumors about my own romantic prospects. There might be someone, but that's a story for another day. Some chapters deserve to unfold without public commentary. As the evening wound down, Sophia and I stood in the same backyard where Marcus had first proposed years earlier. The space held different energy now. Instead of secrets and manipulation, it contained memories of truth-telling and healing. The toddler ran between the remaining guests, his shirt untucked and his hair messy from dancing. He was tired but happy, surrounded by people who'd chosen to love him not because they had to, but because they wanted to. This is what victory looks like, Sophia said quietly. Not destroying the person who hurt us, but building something beautiful from what he destroyed. Marcus had taken many things from us. Time, trust, the innocence of believing people always tell the truth. But he'd also given us something precious, though he'd never intended to. He'd shown us what we were capable of when everything fake was stripped away. He'd revealed the strength we didn't know we possessed. He'd taught us to value truth over comfort, consistency over charm, actions over words. Most importantly, he'd brought us together in a way we never would have discovered otherwise. The shared experience of surviving his deception had forged bonds that couldn't be broken by normal family drama. The toddler fell asleep in my arms during the cleanup, exhausted from the excitement. As I carried him inside, he mumbled something about pancakes and weddings and how David makes good jokes. This child would grow up in a family that chose honesty over convenience. He'd learn that love doesn't require perfect people, just present ones. He'd understand that sometimes the most beautiful stories grow from the most painful beginnings. Marcus was somewhere far away, probably crafting new lies for new victims, still believing that image matters more than substance, still choosing the path that leads nowhere permanent. But we were here in the truth of real love. Messy, complicated, beautiful, honest. Building something that would last because it was founded on something stronger than convenience. The house grew quiet as the last guest left. Sophia and David began their married life together. The toddler dreamed peacefully in his race car bed. I sat in my apartment, reflecting on how far we'd all traveled from that terrible phone call years ago. Tomorrow would bring ordinary challenges. Work deadlines, grocery shopping, preschool pickup, family dinners, the beautiful mundane reality of lives built on truth instead of lies. But tonight we celebrated, not just Sophia's wedding, but the family we'd chosen to become, the love we'd fought to protect, the future we were brave enough to build together. This is how the story really ends, not with dramatic revenge or perfect closure, but with the quiet decision to keep choosing each other, one honest day at a time, with a little boy who will grow up understanding that family means showing up, especially when it's hard. Marcus thought he was writing our story, but he was just the catalyst that helped us discover who we really were when everything false was burned away. The real story began when we chose truth over comfort, and it continues every time we make that choice again. Some people deserve second chances. Some people deserve forgiveness. Some people deserve the benefit of the doubt. Marcus isn't one of them, but we deserve the peace we've built. We deserve the love we've chosen. We deserve the future we're brave enough to create, one honest moment at a time, and that's the ending that matters. The story takes one final turn that no one saw coming. 5 years have passed since Sophia's wedding to David. The little boy is now 8 years old, excelling in school and obsessed with dinosaurs. Sophia's consulting business has grown into a small firm. David got promoted to principal at the elementary school. I've been dating someone wonderful for 2 years, and we're talking about marriage. Life had settled into a comfortable rhythm. Family dinners, school events, weekend adventures. The chaos of Marcus felt like ancient history, something we'd survived and learned from but rarely discussed. Then last Tuesday changed everything. I was at work when my phone rang. Unknown number, but something made me answer. Is this Claire Richardson? The voice was young, nervous, unfamiliar. Yes, who is this? My name is Tyler. Tyler Morrison. I think Marcus Williams might be my father. I sat down heavily in my desk chair. Morrison. I knew that name from somewhere. I'm Jessica Morrison's son, he continued. My mom used to be engaged to Marcus. She told me about you and your family, about my half-brother. The room spun around me. Jessica had never mentioned having a child during any of our conversations. In all her investigations into Marcus's deception, she'd never revealed that piece of information. Tyler was 17 years old. The timeline meant Jessica had been pregnant when she confronted Marcus at her rehearsal dinner 5 years earlier. She'd exposed his lies while carrying his child, knowing he would abandon both of them the moment he learned the truth. I need to meet my brother, Tyler said quietly. Mom's been sick, and she finally told me everything. About Marcus, about the lies, about the family I have that I've never met. Jessica was dying. Cancer. Diagnosed 6 months earlier. She'd spent the past year putting her affairs in order, including finally telling Tyler the truth about his father. She'd kept the pregnancy secret even from her own sister Jennifer. After Marcus fled the rehearsal dinner, Jessica discovered she was pregnant and made the decision to raise Tyler alone, rather than give Marcus another chance to abandon a child. Tyler had grown up believing his father was someone who died in a car accident when he was a baby. Jessica had created an entire fictional backstory, rather than explain that his real father was a systematic manipulator who abandoned families when they became inconvenient. But now, facing her own mortality, Jessica wanted Tyler to know about his half-brother. She'd been been following our family's story from a distance through social media, watching the little boy grow up with the father figure Tyler had never had. I need you to know, Tyler said, his voice breaking slightly, that Mom never wanted anything from Marcus. She never filed for child support or tried to contact him. She just wanted to protect me from being rejected by someone who doesn't know how to love anyone. We arranged to meet that weekend. Tyler drove 6 hours from Colorado with Jennifer, who'd been helping care for Jessica during her illness. The family resemblance between the boys was unmistakable. Same dark hair, same serious eyes, same way of tilting their head when thinking. The 8-year-old was initially shy around his teenage half-brother, but that changed when Tyler pulled out his phone and showed him pictures of dinosaur fossils from a museum in Colorado. Within minutes, they were deep in conversation about velociraptors and archaeological digs. Sophia cried watching them together, two innocent children connected by DNA they'd never asked for, bonding over shared interests while their father remained oblivious to their existence. David immediately invited Tyler to stay for the weekend. We set up the guest room and spent hours filling in the gaps of our parallel stories. Tyler was an honor student, planning to study engineering in college. He played basketball, volunteered at animal shelters, had never been in serious trouble. Jessica had raised a remarkable young man despite doing it alone. Everything Marcus could have been proud of if he'd been capable of pride in anyone besides himself. The hardest conversation came Sunday morning. Tyler asked direct questions about Marcus, not with any intention of seeking a relationship, but trying to understand the man whose DNA he carried. We told him the truth about the systematic lying, the abandoned relationships, the complete inability to take responsibility for consequences. We also told him about the good qualities Marcus had possessed before they were corrupted by his need to manipulate everything around him: intelligence, charm, ambition. Traits Tyler had inherited but was using to build instead of destroy. Tyler listened without judgment, occasionally asking clarifying questions. When we finished, he was quiet for a long time. I understand why Mom never told me, he finally said, and I understand why she never told him about me. Some people don't deserve to know about the good things they accidentally create. Tyler stayed in touch after returning to Colorado. He video called his little brother twice a week, helping with homework and sharing stories about high school. The 8-year-old started referring to Tyler as my real brother to distinguish him from friends who were like brothers. Jessica's condition deteriorated rapidly. Tyler asked if we could visit before she became too sick for travel. The whole family drove to Colorado that spring, wanting to meet the woman who'd protected Tyler from Marcus's toxicity. Jessica was frail but alert when we arrived at the hospice facility. She smiled when she saw the 8-year-old peek shyly around Sophia's legs. He looks just like Tyler did at that age, she whispered. Same serious expression, same curiosity about everything. We spent 3 days with Jessica, sharing stories and filling photo albums. She wanted Tyler to have pictures of his half-brother, documentation of the family he'd gained through her courage to tell the truth. Jessica's final conversation with me was private, while the others visited the hospital cafeteria. I never regretted keeping Tyler's secret, she said quietly. Marcus would have destroyed him the way he tried to destroy everyone else. Some children are better off never knowing fathers who can't love anyone. She paused, struggling to find energy for the words that mattered. But I'm glad he'll know his brother. That boy has the father Tyler should have had. Maybe they can learn from each other what family really means. Jessica died peacefully 2 weeks later, with Tyler holding her hand. He spoke at her funeral about the mother who'd sacrificed everything to protect him from people who would have hurt him, about learning that sometimes the bravest thing a parent can do is keep their child away from their other parent. Tyler moved in with Jennifer to finish his senior year of high school. He applied to colleges near our hometown, wanting to be close to his brother during the formative years they'd already missed. The 8-year-old created a memory box for Tyler with pictures, letters, and small gifts. Inside, he included a drawing of their family tree. At the bottom, he'd written "Brothers Forever" in his careful second-grade handwriting. Marcus never learned about Tyler's existence. Jessica's family and friends honored her wishes to keep Tyler's paternity private. There was no reason to invite chaos into a young man's life when he was already grieving the only parent who'd ever wanted him. Tyler graduated as valedictorian of his high school class. His speech was about the power of single mothers and the importance of choosing family through love rather than just accepting the family you're born into. He's starting college this fall at the State University, planning to study civil engineering. He wants to build things that last, he told me. Infrastructure that helps communities thrive for generations. The symbolism wasn't lost on anyone. Tyler was choosing to create and build despite sharing DNA with someone who specialized in destruction and manipulation. The 8-year-old is thriving with an older brother who texts him encouragement before tests and sends care packages during the school year. Their relationship is pure, uncomplicated by the history that created it. Sometimes genetics give you the best parts of people without their worst traits. Tyler inherited Marcus's intelligence and charm, but Jessica's moral foundation shaped how he uses those gifts. This summer, Tyler worked as a counselor at the summer camp his brother attended. Watching them together, you'd never know they'd only known each other for a year. Their bond was instant and genuine, built on shared DNA but strengthened by chosen love. David has embraced his role as Tyler's surrogate father figure. He helps with college applications, gives advice about relationships, provides the stable male presence Tyler never had. Their connection proves that family has nothing to do with biology and everything to do with showing up consistently. Sophia and I often talk about how differently Tyler's story could have offended. If Jessica had told Marcus about the pregnancy, Tyler would have grown up in the chaos of abandonment and broken promises. Instead, he had 18 years of stability and love before learning his truth. The 8-year-old asked recently if they would ever meet their biological father. Tyler answered with wisdom beyond his years. "Some people are donors, not parents," he explained to his little brother. "Our real dad is David because he chose us. Biology just gave us each other." Marcus is still out there somewhere, still cycling through relationships and lies, still leaving destruction in his wake. But his impact on our family has been neutralized by the love we've chosen to build around his absence. Tyler and his brother represent the best possible outcome of Marcus's worst behavior. Two amazing children who will grow up understanding that family means choice, commitment, and showing up even when it's difficult. This is how some stories really end. Not with confrontation or closure from the person who caused the pain, but with healing that happens despite their absence. With children who become better than their genetics suggested possible. With families that form around truth instead of convenience. With love that chooses itself every single day. Marcus gave us Tyler by accident, but Tyler chose us on purpose. That's the difference between donation and parenting, between biology and family, between what you inherit and what you build. The story continues, but it's no longer about Marcus. It's about the family that grew strong enough to survive his worst and embrace the best that accidentally came from it. Two brothers, 8 years apart, connected by DNA but bonded by choice. Proof that sometimes the most beautiful things grow from the most unlikely soil. And that's the real ending. Not revenge or justice or closure, but two kids who will grow up knowing that love is a decision you make every day, not an accident of genetics. Marcus lost everything that mattered when he chose lies over truth. We gained everything that matters when we chose truth over convenience. In the end, we all got exactly what we chose.